It's Brittany, bitch, and I'm back. It is the Hippy Speedball Podcast. Joe, your host with the most. Joe, it's good to fucking see you guys again. It's been a minute. I bet you're wondering why I'm dressed all fancy, and that's because the old show is dead. This is a funeral and a wedding because it's like a new beginning. So it's like a funeral and a wedding.
Either way, we ought to have a lot of fun, huh?
But it's good to see all you guys again. Today, my guest is actually Sammy Vee. He's been on the podcast before. He's a good friend of mine. We talk about the metaverse. We talk about horror movies. We talk about science. We talk a little bit about weed. He asked me some really cool questions towards the end, and it was a really fucking good time. So everybody, spark up your blunts, load up your bowl, get your dabs ready, brew up that coffee, sit down, relax, and welcome fucking back to the Hippy Speedball Podcast.
Try Folgers, the mountain-grown coffee. Mountain-grown for better flavor.
The stronger the grass, the greater the distortion of perception and judgment.
A hippie speedball is coffee and cannabis.
On my worst days, I'm still a combination of ancestral prayers and slave ships. Unsupervised astral plane trips. Zulu spears, British colonizer tears, and a heavy microdose of Ku Klux Klan nightmares. My nigga, I'm never shook and I don't flinch. I like my bag by a cinch. Oh yeah, and it's fuck Willie Lynch. I got mixed dads.
Sammy Vee, Hippy Speedball Podcast.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me again,
dude,
man.
Thanks for coming by, man. I'm always, anytime we ever converse, whether like shortly through Instagram or, you know, in person, on the phone, whatever it is, I always enjoy talking to you, man, because it's motivating like people like you that I need to surround myself with, especially this day and age and everything. So, and watching all the moves you're making, I'm very, very impressed, bro. So
I appreciate you.
Let's let the people know what you've been up to, man. How's Block Bandits Club? How's the metaverse treating you, man? How's everything going?
Well, that has been an exponential experience so far. I just wanted to return the love first of all and say I really appreciate you. We've always had, you're a great communicator. I appreciate your hustle and that your drive is
man.
So community based, and you're a raw form of energy coming back to you by the community effort you do, and you've just made this amazing podcast with it.
Oh, thank you.
Big props to you.
You're gonna make me cry. Thank you for wearing shades.
Shucks.
And you might be wondering why we're wearing sunglasses. It's because things are going great and they're only getting better. I'm doing all right, getting good grades. My future's so bright. I gotta wear shades.
Hey.
I gotta wear shades. Hey. Actually, that wasn't intentional. I just thought of that on the spot, but that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We gotta wear shades. We're doing big shit, man. So speaking of big shit, go ahead and keep going. Sorry.
No,
we got high as fuck before this podcast.
that is hence the comfortability level for.
Oh, we were sitting there fucking blazing that blunt for a hot minute, bro. And thanks for rolling with me to the dispo. Shout out Khalifa.
Shout out Khalifa.
Deliciousness, man.
That was beautiful buds, man.
What's that?
They were beautiful buds.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Definitely. I'm excited to roll another one after the podcast is over. Because I'll have to, for sure, man. Go ahead and continue, bro. So how are things going?
Man, things have been great. As you know, we started the NFT community, and that was awesome. We've grown into my own NFT marketplace. I offer 30% higher residuals than anyone on the internet in the Web3 space, just so you know. Mm-hmm. But no, man, it's been really cool connecting with the community in a different way. And I have 3 different restaurants throughout Oregon on board. I'm working on, franchising, having those opportunities for people to go to shows or, medical, whatever the case.
So what are you doing with these restaurants?
So with these restaurants, I'm offering some of their users a different experience. Like I have a Meta food park. So instead of, because I'm branding this whole MetaMall, right? So kind of like Amazon, but in a different immersive experience. You can order food, liquor, clothing from any of the spaces in this mall I've created already, and some of it's more than fully operational. I haven't released all of that yet, but I have a virtual bar for shout out Sancho Veloz, the first tequila in the metaverse. That's my partner over there.
Hell yeah.
I have a virtual bar for him, so you can go attend a show, and who knows, it could be Swiggle one day. I don't know. It could be Julian Outlaw. I don't know.
No,
it could be Dick Shadoon or whoever.
Who knows? You know, it's a crazy world.
So, we've had events so far doing that simultaneously with other parties and stuff, and that kind of led into more of me, combining these elements of, food more accessible for people, concerts for people with handicaps, and just limiting all, liabilities has been
for sure. One question I had while you were, so with the restaurants, so are you going to the restaurant in the metaverse and then like ordering food and it gets delivered to your house like in real life?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So
that's
like,
really cool.
So like in this food park, one of the restaurants I have, it's called the Tap Station, down near Corvallis and Independence. They have their own food truck. They actually have a corresponding food truck next to the restaurant as well, but I thought the idea was cool, so I made a 3D model, put it in the food park. That was my very first restaurant in there. And so like you'll go there, it's a near replica of theirs that I've rendered. So like I'll go around and scan with my camera, and
that's really cool.
Like even restaurants, buildings, and so I made them. They're a little food truck. So you go there in the park, there's real life other people there, invite your friends over, and you don't need an Oculus. It's your phone, your laptop, iPad. It looks better than the games.
Nice.
So these restaurants and everything have that option now. It's different.
Well, I was going to say, it's a really fun way to do it too, rather than just like going on the, like the website or going through DoorDash or something like that. It's like you can actually do it kind of like in person, but like virtually and stuff like that. And your avatar looks super dope, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah. I'm going to make you one.
I'm going to go ahead and pop up a picture of it so people can check it out, man. It's really, really, I need one. I need one with my leather jacket.
I can do it.
That's what, dude, that would be sick, dude. That would be sick. Let me know what you need from me and we'll totally fucking
all I gotta do, I'll get the homie Tone Deaf to come take a photo of you. We'll get exact replica.
So can you wear like branded stuff in there? Like, would you get in trouble? So, like, if I was to wear like a Misfits T-shirt for my avatar, would that be cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also they don't own the rights of the Crimson Ghost because that skull is actually in a public domain movie. So I think technically, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure the Crimson Ghost is a public domain movie, which is where the Misfit skull actually comes from. This comes from that movie. It's about like a hacker. Like that's like it's a really weird and that's a tangent. Go ahead.
No, I'm cool. I'm really on the tangent. I'm with it.
I know, right? That's yeah.
We've been talking movies since like before we started shooting.
Oh my god, I know. I'm so sorry. I fucking was just like Twisted Metal movie, Twisted Metal series.
Blow my gourd before I get here,
bro. It sounds like a dope series though, right?
No,
that pilot episode would make Twisted Metal fans.
The opening was super to detail and suspenseful, and the ending, like, dude.
You want to figure out what's going on?
I was already having notes, and I was like, okay, so the ending, let's cut that down. Don't open with that until the opening of the second episode.
For sure.
Go in on them.
But yeah,
too much sauce. You got too much sauce, Joe.
Dude, it's I have a lot that I want to do. The whole thing was just figure out where to start. Like, and that's really the thing. The podcast was a really good choice. I feel like I definitely made the right choice because that was something I thought of like a long time before I even started the show, was doing the Hippy Speedball podcast. But then when I actually started, it's like, okay, I'm going to start a podcast. Let's see if Hippy Speedball's taken yet. It wasn't. And now it belongs to me. Yeah. So
every time I talk about the show, like to a stranger, it's like, out of town or whatever, I'm like, oh, you like podcasts? What about, have you ever heard of Hippy Speedball Podcast? Like, did you say that right? Hippy Speedball? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I know. I get it all
and
the
like,
time.
oh, I'm going to look that up now.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. I totally, I get that all the fucking time, bro. All the time. It's like, it usually I'll get like, oh, I know another kind of speedball. And I'm like, well, that's not the one I'm talking about. That's not it.
No, sir.
Yeah. And I also like to tell people too that I found this out. Coffee and cannabis, there's actually scientific evidence that shows when they're combined, they put you into a flow state. So that's one of the reasons why it's like when you're sitting there smoking out and drinking coffee, you can get really creative. And then that's when a lot of ideas are inspired and really good conversation can be had when you're hanging out with your homies and just sipping coffee and passing a blunt around and everything. Yeah. And you kind of get into this really weird flow state. And it actually is like something to do with the caffeine and the cannabis combined.
I believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe it.
It actually does like an effect, and it brings on really amazing conversation. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun.
It's definitely a balance for me, or it's like I could hear my hair growing, like just like super rigid.
I did definitely get you pretty lit.
Thank you. I needed that today.
Blunt for sure. Oh, I'm glad, man.
I wasn't done with it, but I was like, I want to come in here and just be Z and looking at you.
Oh, that's fucking great. Yeah, our eyes are definitely super, super. Yeah, I'm glad we're wearing shades. I'm glad we're wearing shades because it's like you're going to look at mine and be like, can he even see me right now?
Right.
Right. So, yeah, dude, I want an avatar with my leather jacket, like a Misfits t-shirt, freaking like yeah. That
Yeah,
would be
we
sick.
can do that. They're our avatars. Shout out Ready Player Me also to be a sponsor when
That's
here
cool.
soon, hopefully.
That's a cool name.
They have made it so we can just take those photos and upload them and use them across 40 different apps and metaverses. So it's like
Hell yeah, that's fucking dope, man.
it's super accurate. It's pretty cool.
Dude, I know yours looks really, really cool. It's so detailed, like the big coat and the fucking dope ass sneakers and shit. Like it, yeah, super sick looking, man. I fucking love it. It looks really awesome. I'm curious, man. Because you're also tied up with crypto and everything like that, man. How you feeling about how you feeling the bite, man? Did you lose a lot?
No, actually,
Good.
I just kind of moved funds around.
Oh, nice.
For the most part, when I was watching on Bitcoin and everything else, I just kind of went back to the basics. I'm just trading, just put all my stuff into trading. So,
Oh, okay, nice. Hell yeah.
Forex is always good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
There's always pairs to trade, and even when lumber, we had that whole lumber issue. What was that? 2 years ago, and the price of lumber is just exponential. I was trading that. I'd
Nice.
never seen that on the broker platform. Oh yeah, lumber. Home Depot is on there too.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, and that's actually a good investment because a lot of people are going to be refurbishing their homes, so those businesses are really going to start popping off like a lot. And I also think concrete, because people are going to be building bunkers. Everyone's ready for shit to hit the fan, so all these rich people are going to be building their fucking bunkers, and all these recent crypto millionaires are all going to be building their bunkers and shit and doing their shit. It'll be like where there's like a random abandoned car in the middle of nowhere, but you actually open up that car door and there's a staircase. There's a hatch that brings you underground.
We can make some movies.
I'm all for that, bro. I want one of those so bad.
That would be a dope ass movie. Connect like the different millionaires and people by their underground things. Like there's a whole half of the movie going up, above ground, and a whole half of the movie down there. Mm-hmm. Even on different characters that will go in between. And yeah.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I'm down to fucking.
It can be
plot
super
something
dark
like,
and
yeah, for sure, man. I have so many ideas for movies, man. I have this really amazing noir movie that I want to make, and it kind of takes place in a world where like humans, vampires, witches, werewolves, all those things coexist with one another.
Like underworld.
Kind of, but not really. Like, I mean, yeah, but this one's like they actually like they like live in the cities together and they work together and that kind of shit. But also, since like vampires can only go out at nighttime, they also took a lot of like the graveyard shift jobs and shit like that, because they don't need many breaks because they're just fucking just machines basically. And they were they took all like the night jobs, which caused a lot of conflict with humans and vampires and shit like that. And then also, since vampires do only go out at nighttime, they also are the ones that are in charge of like the bars, the nightclubs, so like the mob,
the werewolves.
Yeah. So like, yeah, but so the werewolves have a separate thing, and I'll get into that in a second. So they're kind of a big central point of the whole plot of the movie. Werewolves are, but witches are actually just as powerful as the vampires, because back in the day there was like a war. They fought like a gangland war with one another, and then they decided just to split up the city. And so it's like the vampires own this thing, and then the witches own these businesses, and like they kind of like, we do these, and then like the witches own and like the brothels, the strip clubs, like anything that's in the sex industry. They also do all the numbers running and like some of like the gambling operations too. Like they run all of that shit, and they split up the drug trade and everything like that. So werewolves, the whole plot of the whole movie involves werewolves, because since werewolves can only come out, so they only turn into a wolf when the moon is full, and it's because they've been bitten by a wolf. It's not their fault that they're werewolves. It's really not. So in the movie, there's this law that's being passed called the Lycan Insanity Act, and it makes it so whenever a werewolf turns into a wolf when the moon is full, they're not held responsible for what they do. But in reality, it's the vampires that are actually corrupting City Hall to pass this law, so they can use the werewolves as murder for hire.
Yep,
so
I was thinking the same shit right there. I was like,
what's up, man? And so it was, and so that's the whole central point. The main character of the movie is kind of like one of those like old like detectives She was an old detective, but she became a private investigator because everything was all corrupt and she didn't want to work for the police anymore. And so she was like, fuck this, I'm out, I'm gonna go do my own thing. Became a PI. The movie starts and it stumbles across the murder scene of the main vampire boss. And I named it after his name was Don Lugosi, after Bela Lugosi. And so Don Lugosi gets murdered, and that's the first scene in the movie. And she actually stumbles across the murder scene, and then she knows exactly what's going on because there's like a young up-and-coming vampire that she has a long history with, because whenever he was coming up in the rackets, she was constantly dealing with him. Whenever she was like a new police cadet all the way to her retirement. Like, it's kind of like a Joker-Batman kind of relationship. And so she knows exactly who is responsible for this. And so she was like, what the fuck is going on? And then the camera keeps panning out. He walks out of the frame, keeps panning out. And then you just see the car under the light with that dead vampire outside of it. And then credits start rolling. Then that's the end of the movie.
I feel like you have a lot of really detailed elements, like older Tarantino first films with the imagery and I like what you do with the camera. I think you got a nice blend of shit.
Thank you,
very
bro.
suspenseful.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. So anybody that's really into filmmaking, let's make some shit happen, dude.
We will talk.
Right? That would be super dope. Well, that was quite a lovely tangent, man. But yeah, I'm feeling the bite of crypto too. I felt it for sure. Because
did you lose a bit?
Not much, because also I had actually sold a bunch of my crypto right before the dip, like right before it all crashed down. Like, because when I had sold my ETH, it was because I bought it when it was at like
35.
No, I bought it sooner than that. I bought it when it was at like 22. Like it was at like around like 2200 when I bought it. And then I sold it because it got up to 35. It got almost up to 4,000. I think I got above 4,000. Yeah. And then I think I sold when it was at 38. And then it fucking
and then it tanked.
And then it just tanked.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I think like, hold on. I can't check it because I'm actually filming right now, but yeah, what's the price? This is why I can't wait to have my new partner of my team is going to be off.
Just right there brings you the iPad.
Well, no. I'll just be like, hey, can you look that up for me? What's the price of Ethereum right now? And so it'll just be, and that's exactly what she's going to do. Shout out Mackenzie. I'm excited to have you as a part of the team.
Hey.
So get ready to hear her voice for sure.
Oh, yikes. There you go. There it is.
1,213. Hey, dude, it was actually only at 800 like a week ago or something like that. So that's not terrible.
Yeah. I'm going to start trading against it with cash right now.
Yeah, right. Honestly, I still think that gold is a worthy investment because it just constantly is increasing in value.
Silver, it's underrated. Silver
too.
Is going to be in high demand one of these days. We need it for our medical instruments.
I was going to say, people are discovering so many uses for silver now.
Copper as well.
And also all the people that are into like magic and earthly stuff, like they use fucking silver like crazy.
It's the new oat milk of spiritual.
Oh, the oat milk of spirituality. That's fucking amazing. Oh, that was good. That was really good. Oh my God. Yeah, that's so true too. Hey, I think that if people are into the magic stuff, I say go for it. As long as it's not like demonic and summoning like dark forces and stuff like that, it's like, I don't care if you want to practice pagan stuff. Just don't start like, dropping your voice and speaking in Latin to me. That's where we draw the line. It's like, I'm good. I've seen The Exorcist. It was creepy,
What is your favorite horror flick? Paranormal.
Okay.
Paranormal. Narrow it down because that's my favorite
like
genre,
ghosts,
selfishly.
So like paranormal as in like ghosts and demons and stuff like that. So favorite as in entertaining to watch.
Yes.
I would. So I put favorite in multiple categories because it's like the favorite that scares me the most or the favorite that's just like I enjoy watching the most. I'd say the one I enjoy watching the most is probably it's a tie between House on Haunted Hill or Evil Dead, just the original Evil Dead, or Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness. But I would say the one that scares me the most is still probably to this day The Exorcist. Still to this day. There's just, that movie is just uneasy. Like everything about movie, and even just the way the house is, like even like the beginning, like or when it shows her have like that party with her friends, and then the kids like, you're all gonna die up there. It's just like, the fuck
is going on
here?
I
know, dude. If I was at like a fucking party, we're all having fun around the piano, we're all jamming and stuff like that, and this little bitch walks down, it's like, you're all gonna die up there. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Check his backpack.
I would be like, you need to fucking discipline that child. What the fuck is she doing talking to like that?
Check his backpack.
Check his backpack.
No, but
what about you, man? What about you?
I would probably say, I think there's 3 levels to favorite, which is conceptualization. If there is a storyline, which, you know, it sucks, but I'm a movie person. I like to have a decent storyline.
Oh, absolutely.
So like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, trash.
I love that movie, bro.
Oh my god!
But that's in its own. It's in its own category.
It's in its
though.
own thing.
It's a B movie.
I was all hyped up for something else when she told me about it, but yeah.
What were you expecting?
It was definitely
just out of curiosity.
Slashy. I guess it says it all, like Sharknado. You know, that's on me.
I was gonna say, what were you expecting from a movie called Killer Clowns from
and
Outer
I hate
Space?
clowns, so yeah.
Oh shit. So have you ever seen that movie? Fuck. What is it called? It's got that one really creepy clown, and he's got like, oh my god. People that are listening are like fucking yelling at me.
Bozo?
Like,
I don't know. They're all scary.
No, it's on Netflix. And it became really fucking popular. It was fairly low budget, but the way the clown looks, because he looks kind of like an old like opera clown, like where he's got like the tiny like little pointed hat, and he's got like the one white paint.
Not American Horror Story.
No. It was on American Horror Story, but I know exactly which one you're talking about because that was the one where it was about the election, the whole Donald Trump shit.
No,
like
that one.
That was the same season.
Right, was it?
That was 100% the same season because that was his little fear campaign, was being the clowns to get people all scared and shit like that.
It's not the circus one.
No, that was Freak Show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Freak Show was really good, but this one is called. Can you just Google it for me, bro? Can you just type in like new, or just type in like clown horror movie, and it's probably going to be like one of the first ones that fucking pop up. Like I said, the people, and I'm probably going to think of it like right as you look it up.
All right, let's see here.
All right, let's see.
Whoa. What do we got here? What the fuck is that? That looks like
Terrifier. That one, dude, is gory as fuck.
Oh, put me on.
Bro.
That looks scary as shit,
dude.
It's not even rated.
It's a great movie, dude. It has like such a huge cult following, and they because like they fan funded the second one. Like that's how popular it got. People were like, we need another one of these. It was so good. Anybody listening or watching, go check out Terrifier. I'm gonna go ahead and pop up a picture of this clown at a random point in this podcast too. Like it's just gonna show up. I'll just pull like a Fight Club, and it'll be there for like literally a fraction of a second. The lowest I could get it on my settings. Just like the absolute shortest millisecond I could get it just to pop up.
Until it becomes a Mandela effect to some.
Yeah, right. Dude, that Mandela effect shit, man. That fucks with me. That fucks with me hard. Which one pisses you off the most with the Mandela effect? Because there's a lot of different stuff.
I think recently someone said Curious George didn't have a tail. I distinctly remember an episode.
Yeah, because he used to like hang on shit with his tail.
Yeah, he's throwing his tail around shit.
Someone said Curious George does Curious George doesn't have a tail? I don't think
I don't know unless they made a new show or something. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
and then another one I heard was the Planters Peanut guy doesn't have a monocle.
That one really pisses me off.
That's
too.
not true.
No, that's definitely not true.
He's always had that monocle, like the Monopoly guy.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh no. So no. Mr. Peanut has the monocle. It's the Monopoly guy that they say doesn't have the monocle. That's what they're saying. 100%. The Monopoly guy has never had a monocle.
I don't believe it. Man.
That one. Yeah. So we got that backwards. Okay. Mr. Peanut's the one that always has it, and a lot of people think that you're confusing the Monopoly guy with Mr. Peanut. But proof that that's bullshit is Ace Ventura 2. because in the movie he's at a party and then he was like, he's talking to this rich guy and the guy was like, who is this man? He was like, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and you must be the Monopoly guy. And the guy's got a mustache and a monocle and a top hat. Like, that's what the guy's wearing. And so it's like, that's why you've affiliated with the Monopoly guy. And so that's what I'm saying. He's always had the monocle, but then they say that he doesn't. The Oscar Mayer one pisses me off,
What's
too.
that one?
Spell Oscar Mayer.
OSCARMEYER.
MAYER. Yeah.
Mayer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And one of the reasons I know that's bullshit, and it's always been EY.
There was the song when we were kids.
See, I don't remember
the commercials.
Song. I don't ever remember the Oscar Mayer song. I just remember like the Weenie Mobile and the Weenie whistles. I remember those.
Yeah.
But like, and because I had
Throwback.
a Weenie whistle, and like I remember those, and like they were pretty fucking cool back in the day. But the reason why I've known it was MEYER is because that's actually how I learned EY makes the I sound, because I remember looking at it. I was like, Oscar Meyer, and then my mom was like, Meyer. That's the way it's way it's spelled. And I was like, oh, like Fred Meyer. Mm-hmm. Like, so that's exactly how that was the connection I made when I was like 6 years old.
Right.
Like, I was really young, and I remember very
Correlation.
distinctively making that connection because I learned something from it that I've used for my entire life.
Right.
So like, you can go back to those moments and you very distinctly remember. And I remember being in the fucking grocery store at Food for Less, because we were poor. We shopped at Food for Less. We went to Food for Less. They had the fucking hot dogs, saw the Oscar Mayer thing. And yeah. And I was like, that's bullshit. Once I learned it was MAYER. And everybody knows the Berenstain Bears thing. That one really pisses me off.
That one pisses me off too. I just want to know who's writing this stuff. So now I feel like it's
No, it's a parallel universe, man. It's we're in a we've shifted. We're in a parallel universe because at some point there was, and I think it has something to do with the particle collider that they're just now kicking on again. I think it has something to do with that, because there's some like times where it seems to correlate about that. And around like when certain conversations like that start popping up, and I think that has something to do with it. To be honest, that's kind of I want to look into that. So I actually want to have
and movie wise that would make sense.
I want to have like a scientist. I want to start getting more people like that on the podcast, because I'm really interested in black holes and physics and everything like that.
The particle accelerator has definitely been something interesting. I think all that stuff's so cool.
Yeah, me too, bro. Dude, I want to learn about quantum mechanics and quantum theory, and I want to learn so much about that, because also it's kind of like a challenge. One of the reasons why is because quantum mechanics and quantum physics quantum physics is the actual stuff itself. Quantum mechanics is the operations under quantum physics.
Right.
And so I believe that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And so, but it's cool because it's so complicated, nobody can explain it. So I want to learn as much as I possibly can so I can explain it, because I'm really, really good at explaining complicated things in a really simple and understanding way for anybody to understand. I'm really good at that. So I'm like, oh, you can't explain it? Challenge accepted. Let me see what I can learn, and I could just teach people about it. And also, I think it's proof that there's something beyond science. Call it God, call it whatever.
It's metaphysics.
There's
it's
something
quantifiable too.
Well, and exactly. Well, because also the thing about quantum mechanics is like, so that for in its most rough, like, bare form, it's the way one particle goes from one place to another. That's all it really is just through these different equations and stuff like that. But the only thing is as soon as you start to calculate it, it's in a different spot. So you can't ever actually quantify what it's doing. So it's, in my opinion, it's like the furthest that God in the universe would let science go. Like, it's like, that's where I'm stopping you. It's like, you're not going to understand anything else now. Like, that's where I'm stopping you. And I think that's kind of cool. Like, and I'm like, let's see what's after that. Like, that, if that's like, we can't even understand that, like, what's going to be like when we can?
What's it going to be like in 30, 40 years and then 100 when kids have little, toy sets of making a small time warp inside a box and seeing that.
Well, the weird thing is in 20 years, we're going to have what like the CIA uses now. So it's like we're gonna have like all the different crazy technology that they're using right now in like 20 years. So just think about that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the FBI released among those files about the aliens a few years ago. About the metaphysics and all the research. And that I was pouring over that. I was like, yeah, duh.
Well,
yeah,
did
duh.
you ever listen to the Bob Lazar? Did you ever watch the Bob Lazar documentary or listen to his episode on Rogan? Definitely do both. Watch the documentary and then listen to his entire podcast on Rogan. It's so good. But Bob Lazar was a guy who basically he worked on, so he was actually a propulsion expert.
Okay.
And so the way that he got the government's attention was he put like a jet engine in his car and he made it work. And so he got the government's attention and they started inviting him to work on these various projects as like a propulsion expert on different stuff. And then he actually worked on a base that was outside. He worked at a lab called Los Alamos. And then he worked at a base that was just outside Area 51 called S4. And he worked at S4 doing propulsion stuff with an expert. And he was actually working on alien craft.
This is real shit.
This is real shit, 100%. And he was working on, so I'm going to tell you his story and then what happened with his story and why it proved to be legit. So he was working on alien crafts, and so like that they had found, and there was all these different types of ones, and the one that he was doing was kind of like your classic flying saucer, and they were trying to figure out how it works. And there was like this, what looked almost like a nuclear reactor that was inside there. But the weird thing was there was no controls. Everything was like just sleek and clean. There was no controls at all. And like they couldn't figure out exactly. They turned it on like once and it was like on for like a second and then it turned right off. But then it was like this like nuclear reactor thing that was basically harnessing gravity. And that's how it moved. That's how they think it moved, was through anti-gravity. Because when they were able to power it on, it causes like an energy field around it.
So like magnets with
exactly, and that's exactly what he said on there. He said it's like whenever you take a magnet and you push it against another magnet and it repulses off each other.
But
like,
there's a buffer in between both sides of that, I would imagine, for some.
And so and he thinks that's how it moves so quickly, is because they're able to take that and then move it and then just shoot. Sure. Because it's not on propulsion. It's just on manipulating gravity itself. Then he was like really interested in the technology, and he was upset that they were keeping it from the public. And he said they extracted an element from this spacecraft that was what they think powered it, and it was called Element 115. And they were and then he was talking about this, and he actually finally came forward. In the first interview, he had like his face blacked out, and he was like, they didn't show what he looked like or who he was, but he was saying the government has these spacecraft. I've worked on these bases, this, that, and the other. And so he was working at this lab and came forward, and then he lost his job at the lab. And then they were actually just trying to say that he never actually worked there. They completely ruined his reputation, saying this guy's crazy. He's never worked here, this, that, and the other. And then he was talking about all this technology that was there at the lab that all ended up coming out like 10, 15, 20 years later. Like all this different technology. He said that the way that they were able to access doors and shit like that was their hands, because everybody's bones in their hands are at a specific distance, like in a certain size. Everybody's is different. Every single person. And so they would use that, and it would be on the bone structure of your hand. And that's how you would get in. And then they were like, this doesn't even exist. Like, he's crazy. And then years later, that's exactly how a lot of high security places do it. And so he was talking about all this stuff. And then Los Alamos was also saying this guy has never worked here. And all this, they were trying to do this. So what he ended up doing was he ended up proving that he worked at Los Alamos and S4. Because he ended up finding a news article that was printed about him, and it said he works at Los Alamos Labs with all these different people and shit. And then he was able to find a directory from S4 with his name in it. And so then he was like, nuh-uh, motherfuckers, I was there, and made the government look really stupid. And they have this a really amazing documentary about it. You got to check it out and that was the cool thing about Rogan's podcast with him, is he had him on there just to see if he was full of shit.
Yeah.
Because a guy like that has a really high bullshit meter. So he was literally just listening to it. And what's really weird is his story has never changed. Not a single piece of it has ever changed. He's constantly said the exact same things. And it's at a point where he's like, he doesn't even like talking about it anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want the fucking technology. He's like, that's all we need. He's like, we just need to use this technology because it could help so many things. And he was like trying to do that. And like, that's what upsets him the most. And it's funny how a lot of these people, a scientist wants to just use the technology. It's like, they don't care that it's aliens. They just want to know how the fuck they can operate these things. And like a pilot, when they see like a UFO, they're like, I want to fly.
I want to fly this shit.
I want to fly that thing. Like, that's so cool. Yeah, dude. I'm actually going to be getting my pilot's license, man. Shit. Dude, yeah, I'm actually, so here soon, I'm going to be taking video and doing all shit. I'm going to be taking my first Discovery flight.
Awesome.
And that's a lot of people don't know is your first step to getting your pilot's license. And it's when you go up there with a flight instructor, and you can actually bring your logbook and log it as an hour too.
Oh, nice.
And so you can actually log it, and they'll let you control the plane, take off, land, all that kind of shit. And they'll teach you how to fucking bank and control in the air, they'll let you taxi the runway and actually go to the spot to where we're going to go, and then drive and then pull the throttle and fucking get it off the ground. They'll let you do all that shit on the Discovery flight because the guy's like right there with you.
Yeah.
And so you're just there in the co-pilot seat, and then you're just fucking, you can operate the controls and everything. I want to fly planes so bad, bro.
Are you into planes as much as I am?
Only
World War II planes?
Only recently, actually. So
really?
Yeah. So the reason why it became an interest of mine was because I was like just on YouTube one day, and I ended up seeing like this family that took a vacation in their airplane. And I'm like, people do that? And I was like, holy fuck. Like, that's how poor I've been in my life. I didn't even know that was a thing, because obviously it's only wealthy people that are able to do it. But I'm just like, what the fuck? It's like, that's a goal. Fucking RV. Let's hop in the Cessna. RV. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, and so that's exactly the reason why. It's like, I want to one day have my own airplane that I can fly around in, do what I need to do in, and I can take my family on trips. Like, that's what I want to be able to do. And so it's like, okay, do we want to go you want to go eat lunch and go watch the stars in the desert of Nevada tonight, go camp out, and we can fly back in the morning? Like, you know, just shit like that. Like, that's crazy. Or be like, hey, let's go to Vegas. We could just fly ourselves, and you have your own different hangars you go to, because you don't go to like a major commercial airport. You go to these little smaller hangars that are all around, and it's astounding how many airplane hangars are actually around. Like, on the way to, because when I was looking at how long it would take to fly from Portland to Vegas, and like a private, you know,
PJ, like
a Cessna 182 or a Cessna like Skyhawk or something like that. When I was looking up how to fly from Portland to Vegas in there, like, I think there was like 75 different airports that you can stop at along the way to refuel if you need to.
75.
Like, yeah, it was a monster number. And I was like, holy fuck. They're just like these small airstrips and refuel stations out in the middle of nowhere. So that's a handy little piece of info to know whenever shit hits the fan.
I guess so.
Also, that's another reason.
What, 4 hours or less?
What's that?
The flight from Portland to Vegas was like,
it's under 2 hours.
Yeah,
it's under 2 hours. Short. But that's in a commercial aircraft, which is going higher, faster. Like, they run on completely different operations than a regular, like, smaller personal airplane. Right. So a personal plane, because you would have to stop and refuel at least once, probably, on like a smaller airplane, but you would still get there in about like 3 hours.
Okay.
Like, you would still get there in about between 3 and 4 hours in like your own little personal plane. And then you don't have to deal with all the bullshit. But also keep in mind,
skip the airport.
Also, I was gonna say, you're skipping the TSA. You're skipping the wait. You're skipping the board. You're skipping the taxi. You're skipping the flight. You're skipping the waiting to get off the plane. You're skipping baggage. You're skipping your ride. Like, no, that's something you still have to do. So that's 7 steps that you just fucking saved yourself. And if you travel a lot, when I did the math, it's actually worth it just to buy your own airplane. Like, if you do a
small
lot of
plane, yeah,
just like your own small airplane. Yeah. Like, eventually, I would love to own like a Cessna Citation. It'd be like, fucking, hey, let's go fly to fucking, like, you know, let's go fly to Japan. Like, let's like literally in a private jet, just to own your own private jet. That's going to be something in the future for sure.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to own my own private jet, and that's when I'll actually I'll just have my own pilot that I have I'll hire. That way I can party with my friends in the fucking Citation.
I was looking at that shit too. I was like, man, owning your own PJ is expensive.
It
like
really
it's not.
is,
It's
dude.
the difference between millionaire and billionaire is do they own their own private jet,
or
Cost of
like or
lease
very
that,
high multimillionaire too, because
refuel and all that.
you
per
can still
year,
be like,
hangar
you know,
space, all that shit.
yeah, you could still be a millionaire. You would just have to be like probably in like the hundreds of millions of dollars that you're making per year, like almost billionaire status, to where
And they probably have someone on retainer, like you're saying.
Yeah.
In that regard, and that's kind of like, I'm
Well,
like,
also
that's
keep in
doable.
mind, a lot
I'm
of these
seeing that
guys
right now.
think of the money you would save if you already had your pilot's license, though. That way you could just fly it yourself, and then you would only have to hire a pilot when you have like your homies with you or something like that. Be like, hey, we just want to get fucked up on the jet, and then boom, let's just hire a pilot. Like, it's like, I ain't gonna fly this bitch after I'm drinking. It's like,
I hope we get that alien technology then. Go autopilot.
There we go. That's why I need to get some scientists and military people up on this podcast. That'd be dope, man. I want to get a physicist and talk about black holes, because I heard a theory of that the universe was created within a black hole itself. Because there's evidence that shows that whenever something gets pulled into a black hole, it condenses and re-expands. So in theory, that could be what is the Big Bang. That's a theory among some people, that we were actually one universe that got sucked into a black hole, and then we re-expanded.
Interesting.
Inside the black hole. And right now we're actually just traveling in between universes. Which would make, like, what if like that's like heaven and hell? What if we cross over into those universes after we die? And right now Earth, or our galaxy, is just like in a purgatory state. Shit like that. I want to have scientists on to talk about stuff like that, so we can really dive deep. Because I'm an idiot and I want to learn about shit like this. So like, I'm not like a scientifically apt person, you know. Like I love it, but I don't know a lot about it. But I want to learn about it. That's what the great thing about doing a podcast.
That would be fun.
Super dope fucking people, right? Yeah, most definitely, man. Fuck, I'm ripped.
Yeah.
I'm super ripped, man.
Yeah.
That blunt did really, really good, man.
You did good. I'll have to roll the next one.
Oh, for sure. Most definitely, bro. I was going to say, I can roll it. Were you planning on sticking around for it, or are you going to be taking off?
I'm in no rush.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll blaze up another one after we're done.
Tomorrow. But yeah.
Oh, Mr.
Got an event tonight.
Got an event tonight. I got to go to Seattle, you know.
I'm just doing things, man.
You know it's hot out here for a pimp
and a wimp
when you're trying to make some money for rent.
Hey.
I love that fucking movie so much.
My daughter, first time her dancing was to that movie.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
my
Actually,
daughter's a G.
The first time my daughter was actually dancing, it was to Naughty by Nature. It was a Hip Hop Hooray. Yeah.
Yes.
And she was like sitting there just fucking boogieing, just shaking. It was hilarious. And now she's like, that kid loves all kinds of music. She has a playlist that I made for her on Amazon Music.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. So I was like, I'll put on your playlist later. And so she like, it has a lot of rock on there, because like I listen to a lot of rock, but I listen to a lot of hip hop too. But I also love like Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and Sammy Davis Jr. And fucking every time I say Sammy, I was like, Sammy Davis Jr. And I was like, we're gonna have a total Rat Pack vibe, and we can finally party in Vegas. Like, that's gonna be fucking sick. We got to get the suits, the scotch, and fucking get the whole Rat Pack thing going on, because I totally channel my inner Sinatra when I'm in Vegas. I love putting on a suit and drinking whiskey and shit when I'm there. Go to the craps table, start throwing some dice and everything.
I do love some dice,
dude. Yeah, for sure, right? Most definitely. But on that playlist, it goes from like, it'll play like the Misfits, and then it'll go to like Oliver Tree, and then it'll go to Dean Martin, and then it'll jump over to fucking like Mud Honey, and then back to like all these different groups and shit that she likes. You know Mud Honey?
No.
Oh, they were like they were like a grunge band back in the 90s. They were from Seattle. I think they were from Seattle. I believe so. But they were, just totally like one of those like alternative grunge bands from back in the day. They're pretty good. They have a really good song called "Poisoned Water." It's a really fucking great song, and it's got like it's funny. It's about people trashing the earth. That's what the song's about.
Sounds like. Do they sound like the Vines at all?
I'm not sure if I'm familiar with the Vines.
Killing the Planet.
I'm not. I'd have to hear that.
Yeah,
I don't recognize it by name off the top of my head, but check it out. Have you ever seen the movie Black Sheep with Chris Farley and David Spade?
Yes.
So not Tommy Boy, Black Sheep.
Not Tommy Boy.
So do you remember the scene
different.
wherever they're at like the rock concert? and then Chris Farley goes up on stage and shit like that. The rock band that's playing at that concert, that's Mudhoney.
Oh, okay.
And the song they're playing is Poison Water. Like, and that's like my favorite song of theirs. It's a great fucking song. It's just fucking heavy. It fucking kicks. It's got a good groove. The drums are off the fucking hook in that song too. That guy goes nuts. It's a great fucking song. Check it out.
Okay, bet.
Turn that into a drinking game. Every time I said the word song, take a drink.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about songs and movies all day.
Speaking of songs, bro, you're starting to do music now.
Yeah, man, I'm doing music again. It's the first time in 10 years recorded. So
nice. So what made you decide to start getting back into music?
Enough people telling me I need to write.
People do that, huh?
Right.
People
but it was
do
like,
that.
you know, like when you have a week and it's like you have like deja vu with multiple people, but it's not. It's just they keep repeating something you need in your life.
Yeah.
And you know it too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, drink more water. Your black friend, put on more lotion.
Yeah.
You know, but it's
Getting
like
a little
something
ashy,
that really
bud.
hits, you know, that you know.
Yeah.
So like writing, maybe singing for other people, like they happen to hear you or read a text from you or this or that, and that's how it kind of came to me different ways. Like, hey, you're writing, you should keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, so just my first song in a minute is quite a distance from what I used to rap about. Now we're talking about metaphysics and manifestations.
I love
and,
it, bro.
You know,
it's fucking sick, man. And your flow, like we were talking about before we started the podcast, is really cool, man. Like you have like a really like jazzy flow. It's really cool. Can I play
the jazz.
like a clip of the song?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Or do you want to play a little bit, then I can just sync it up?
Yeah,
Play a couple seconds of it. Fucking A, dude. It's really cool, man, because I love those types of flows where it literally just I can see you in the booth just going. And I love that sort of shit, man. It's not so like on the beat.
No hooks.
Like,
Yeah, I like to play around it.
I love the no hook style.
Definitely
Like,
unorthodox.
yeah, there you go. I like that. Is that an MC name? If not, that's a cool name.
Unorthodox.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty fire.
That'd be pretty fuck. That's a good name.
I was still
bro.
thinking about Element 151.
Oh, 115.
That would be pretty fire too.
Element 115.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to definitely watch that documentary, bro. It'll blow your fucking mind.
Oh, I gotta see where I can start this at.
Yeah, wherever you want, bro. Just start from the beginning.
All right, let's do it.
What's the song called?
It's called Ruthless.
Ruthless.
Yep.
So this is Ruthless.
Mostly freestyle. If anyone gets that hook, we'll give you $100.
Top of the world. Top of the morning. Top of the morning. Top of the morning.
Now you can see on camera.
There you go.
Okay. On my worst days, I'm still a combination of ancestral prayers and slave ships. Unsupervised astral plane trips. Zulu spears, British colonizer tears, and a heavy microdose of Ku Klux Klan nightmares. My nigga, I'm never shook and I don't flinch. I like my bag by a cinch. Oh yeah, and it's fuck Willie Lynch.
So sick, man. I love it. Yeah, I love it so much, bro.
That's the line.
Is it cool if I play it in the intro for the podcast?
Yeah, that would be freaking dope.
Cool.
I'll
That's
send
the
you
song
this.
you also heard in the intro. And I'm gonna play. I like to make sure I get your permission. What's funny is I'm not cutting that out either.
No, keep it.
Legal purposes.
Yes.
We make sure we take care of everything. Is that weird with the
Correct.
proximity effect on these?
No, it's
How you
pretty
can
tight.
that smooth jazz radio sound here on the Hippy Speedball Podcast.
Ooh, got the golden voice.
It's that. It's Joe, your host with the most Joe on the Hippy Speedball Radio, the hawk of talk with that punk rock walk. Hey, look at that. That first part was off the dope.
That was
That was
tight.
cool.
I saw that coming in. Okay.
I love it, man. Yeah, we should fucking smoke another blunt, man.
That's probably a good
I think
idea.
it's about that time, right?
Yeah.
I think it's about that time. Do you want to just put this on pause and then jump back on, or do you want to sign off and then what do you want to do, bro? Do you have
let's
anything
put
else
on
you wanted
pause.
to? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to put on pause, and the government can fuck off. All right, we are back. We're pretty much just gonna sign off because that was quite a little smoke session and little talkative moments. You got to meet my sister.
Yep.
Yeah. How was that, by the way?
That was cool. She cool people. A lot familiar.
She's an interesting person. She definitely is, for sure. But shout out Amanda. I love you, sis. I love you. I have another sister too. I actually pretty much grew up only with females. because my dad started driving truck when I was like 7.
Okay.
And then my parents divorced when I was 10. So pretty much it was just my mom and my sisters and me, and I was the only guy in the house. And so I think that's why I get along with ladies really well too. It's never been like a situation I've ever had to worry about. But I'm glad you got to meet some of my fam, dude.
Yeah,
like
me
there's
too.
nobody else that's ever been able to. Some people have met Juniper, but nobody's met my family. So
yeah, that's special, man.
you just saw a part of me, and I feel very naked right now.
Naked?
I'm just kidding. Naked? You're like, why? Is there anything else you wanted to share with the peeps, man? Let the people know where they can find you, bro. Because this was amazing.
This was amazing. It was really good kicking it.
Dude,
I think we smoked more than the podcast, chilling, talking. So
yeah, I think it's actually pretty equal because now, because we were going for over an hour.
Yeah, we did go off. Huh?
Yeah, it was like we were going for a minute. So actually, no, it was just under an hour. It was like 50. No, it was about an hour because I have like 50 something minutes left, and this takes an hour and 54 minutes of audio. Good. And so I had like 52 minutes left. So we're just hitting over an hour.
Okay.
And
we did good.
Hell yeah, good, bro, dude.
Yeah,
I fucking love having you, man.
I appreciate it.
As the show keeps fucking progressing, and as we keep doing shit, man. Oh, we're doing snap. My bad. I'm so white. I'm like the cast of Friends at a hockey game right now.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Hey, before we sign off, I still have to ask you that question. Remember, I had what was it? 2 of them. Waffles or pancakes?
Oh, I'm gonna answer that on the other podcast where I do the whole Q&A.
Okay.
But since that's gonna come out actually before this one, I'll go ahead and just answer it again. I guess. Oh, my shit's all backwards and fucked up. I'm getting the ball rolling. I appreciate everybody's patience and the support and all the listeners that are fucking hiking me up and everything like that. But so I like waffles because they're like pancakes with little syrup traps. And every single bite has that.
You can't have no flapjack.
And also you have more uses for it because have you ever had like ice cream on a waffle?
Yep.
Like
sandwiches.
One thing I like to do that not a lot of people have done before is I like to take pancake batter, right? And then so I've done this totally when I was just ripped one time because I made pancakes early in the morning and I just had like a bunch of batter left. It was in the fridge and I was just like, all right, I have this left. What should I do with it? So what I did is I heated up some oil, right? And I ended up fucking just taking a spoon, like a little ladle of it, and just dropped it in the hot oil and fried it into kind of like a fritter.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. And just fry it in the oil. Like just like the pancake batter did. And so then it I pulled it out and then let it cool down for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, not very long at all. And then I took 2 scoops of ice cream and put it on there. Dude, even the effect of the way it looked, because once that ice cream touched it, it just started steaming. Like the whole thing looked, it was presentable. It was so good. So I put 3 scoops. Dude, right?
Wow.
Bro, it was so good. And I put it was vanilla ice cream with strawberry syrup, and I sprinkled a little bit of Fruity Pebbles on the top. And keep in mind, the pancake batter had white chocolate chips in there.
Damn, you was ripped.
Bro. And I invented that, and it became a whole new dessert for me. And I'm like, I just changed the game of this. Have you ever put cereal on your ice cream?
I don't think I've ever done that.
Dude, you gotta try it. You can do it with different stuff too. Like get like a chocolate peanut butter ice cream and get some fucking Reese's Puffs, or even get even just if you get vanilla ice cream, strawberry syrup, and Fruity Pebbles.
I'm with it.
Bro. It's so good.
The good ones. And then frozen Pop-Tarts with sherbet in between.
Ooh, yeah, that would be dang. Bro.
Icy.
We should start a food truck like this. It's all just weird ways to combine, it's like we'll call it like the empty pantry because that's exactly where all these ideas come from. It's when you have no food. You're like, well, we have a little bit of ice cream and we have pancake batter. Like, what can we do with this?
Oh my god, we're gonna be on Hawthorne Boulevard
right
here
and the answer to the other question, hash versus rosin, is I'm assuming you're talking about like with dabs and stuff like that. I would probably say rosin when it comes to dabs, but also I don't dab much personally, but I really like traditional hash.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Hash.
So
like,
I
I'm not into
hash. Then hash for sure.
Okay.
Then just traditional classic.
I was gonna
hash.
say I'm really surprised you seem like a classic man with your smoking. So
dude, yeah, for real. I'm so
smoke.
primitive when it comes to because I'm around professional stoners with like because a friend of mine, Tom, shout out Exnihlio. Exnihlio. Yeah, dude, he's fucking Exnihlio glass is amazing art. I'm gonna go ahead and pop a link right here on the fucking screen so that way you can see it. But it really, really fucking dope artists, and these guys are like professional stoners, man. Like they have crazy dab rigs and these temperature gauges to where it's like you just put like your fucking banger over the top of it and it lets you know when it's at the perfect temperature, has a timer that goes off so it knows that it's the right time to take a hit, and all this crazy shit while I'm sitting there like a caveman rolling a blunt. Like I'm still fucking splitting open a fucking Dutch just like a fucking caveman. But it's but so I have a really cool thing with hash though. So you got to check
bubble
out
hash
this.
or what?
What's that?
Bubble hash.
Bubble hash is good. I just also just like like just like classically like compressed hash,
compressed frozen.
Like yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I had this really amazing podcast I did with this guy. His name is Joe Pietri. They call him the King of Nepal. And that's the name of the episode, King of Nepal. And it's the least I've ever talked on a podcast because this guy's story is fucking nuts, dude. Like, so he was one of the #1 hash smugglers back in the day. And he actually associated with fucking royalty, the prime minister of Nepal, like all these different people, politicians. He's like doing situations with kings and all this crazy shit. So what he did though is he was living in Nepal and he realized when he made his hash and when he compressed it down, it looked just like plywood. And he was like, wow. So what he ended up doing is he compressed the hash down into like these like bricks and he made kind of like a fitting that kind of went around it. And it looked just like, like plywood and 2x4s and shit like that. And he made entire crates out of hash. And then he would ship dogs. Tibetan Mastiffs and Lhasa Apsos, and he would ship these dogs around the world. So when the police dog would come and check it out, he would look at the crate. They would only be interested in the dog, and they wouldn't realize the whole fucking thing was actually made out of hash. And then he also he's had that thing going, and then you can listen to the podcast. I'm not going to go too much into it, but then he stopped doing dogs and then he started doing exotic animals. And he was actually buying animals from like Barnum Bailey, Ringling Brothers, like the circuses. Wow. Yeah. And so the first pandas that ever came to the US came on his hash crates.
Get the fuck out of
Seriously. Here. And then he sent these chimpanzees to, I think it was India. And was it India or Nepal, or someplace around that area? Like, and I think it might have been India, but he was like, he sent these chimpanzees over there, and these chimpanzees were addicted to cigarettes. But I guess in this area, everybody was smoking cigarettes. So once the chimps saw the cigarettes in their pocket, they reached over and asked for one, and they gave it to him, and they fucking lit it up, and they were sitting there. The chimpanzee was smoking cigarettes, and it was like all over the newspapers and stuff. And that was on his hash crates too. These chimps actually came from, dude. Crazy fucking story, bro. And he like was talking about how back in the day Nepal cannabis was legal, like, and all this other kind of shit. And that's why a lot of the hippies were draft dodgers, and they went to Nepal and India and all these like Middle Eastern countries because weed and hash and all that stuff was legal, and like Morocco and stuff. Yep, and so Morocco. they would go where all these places where they were using hash as religious sacrament for fucking millennia, and they'd been using it forever. And so they were, he was hanging out there, and then he started doing hash and shit. He's like, first he was like smuggling weed, and then he started smuggling hash, and he has a crazy story, dude.
What's his name again?
His name is Joe Pietri.
Okay. Joe Pietri.
He wrote a book called The King of Nepal, and then he wrote a book called The $15 Pound. And it's about how cheap cannabis should be. And he's talking about how it's ridiculous on how expensive it is. And he's like, back in you could get weed, I think it was like for like $3 or $4 a pound in Thailand back in the day. Like, and that's why a lot of people were smuggling it, because they could pick it up by the pounds for that much money over there and then bring it over here and sell it for a shitload of money. Yeah. And he was like trying to get back to where it's like everywhere it costs that much. And so he has this whole thing, and he just moved over to a different state right now, and he's got a whole new thing. And he was in a documentary too. It was like in some drug war documentary that was on, and they interviewed him and talked about his story too. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It was shout out to Ilo from freaking he was running Lotus Family Farms, but he was the creator of the Lotus genetics. You know, the Lotus strains. I had Lotus on the podcast.
No fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Lotus. I got hooked up with some of that out in Kelso.
Ooh, nice.
When I was doing
That's what's up.
Rendering.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Very, very happy with that.
Oh,
it was
dude,
like a
Lotus
purple
is
punch
great.
or something.
Mm-hmm.
Super fire purple.
Well, I don't know. So it had it was a kind of Lotus with purple punch in it. Oh, okay. Nice. That's what's up. Thought I heard something. But he was the one that hooked up that interview. So shout out Ilo, man. That was a great fucking time. And he, when I did the podcast with Lotus, man, he actually invited us out to the farm.
Okay.
And we shot it out. We did one part in a barn and then another part in a grow room. And we got to smoke a brand new strain that he was developing. And it was called Vader's Haze. And it was a cross between Death Star and Red Haze.
Death Star and Red Haze.
Yeah, it was Death Star and Red Haze.
What was the differences?
It was very euphoric, very stony, very stony.
More on the Death Star side of it, stony, or
I mean, you can definitely feel the haze for sure, because it was like stony in the face, but you have like that sativa kind of energy, like, you know, it's like you're feeling very euphoric and creative. And it made for great conversation. And he literally just had a person that he paid to roll blunts on the farm. Like, that was their job. I'm like, that's so cool. I want to eventually have that for the podcast. I want to pay someone a fuckload of money to roll my blunts for the episodes.
Do you hear that, everybody? Yeah.
I know, right?
Someday
That's going to be a job for sure. Especially after I start rocking with these sponsors. It's going to be good. Shit's about to be popping, man. I'm excited to have you on the fucking train with me, bro. I need more people like you in my life. I need more people that want to just go out and get it and put in the work. A lot of people want the vacation, but they don't want to book the flight. You know, they don't want to look at hotels. They don't want to do all that shit. They just want to be there, and they just want to do all that. It's like, no, that's not the way it works.
You have to enjoy the experience even when it's negative, not for you and out of sight.
That's a really good point.
Because if you open your eyes, that's usually when actually laws of attraction are happening. When that shit's happening is when you didn't plan it. Sometimes,
and when you're putting in the
realignment is just part of the path you're going anyway. You just didn't plan on it.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's also about putting in the work. It's about putting out the good energy, manifesting what you need, and putting in the fucking work. Because a lot of people just don't want to do that. And especially, like, you know, whenever someone's like, they don't even have a fucking they don't really have much of a say in anything, and they're already asking for money and stuff like that. That's why I've been doing the podcast for almost 2 years, and I'm just now getting sponsors. It's because I didn't want to not make it worth their buck. Like, I want to make sure that when someone does business with me, they know that they're going to get a good bar. It's going to be good for them. It's not just going to be like, what the fuck did I just spend my money on? You know, and there's a lot of people that don't care about that sort of thing, and that irritates the fuck out of me. But you just got to let karma handle all that, you know. You just got to let the universe take care of that.
Karma's not always as fast as we like, but it's always on time. It's always on time.
Man, that's a great place to end it. Sammy Vee, this was a blast, man.
Hey,
thank you so much. Appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Hippy Speedball Podcast. It is Joe, your host with the most show, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.
Thank you.